Hello and welcome back to Rewind Reviews. For you, dear listener, you are in the far-flung future of November 2025, while Chris and I are still sat here, just pissing away, just paddling against the stream back in July. For you, it may have been 12 weeks since we were last on the air. For us, no time at all. Like last week, the week before, pretty recent, we recorded that Addams Family one. Anyway, it's a podcast where we talk about movies from our past. This week, Chris chose Jungle to Jungle. How you feeling, Chris?
Well, technically, you chose it, Dan.
I knew you were
I
going to
did give you a
do
choice
that.
of 4.
I knew you were going to do that. No, you did this to yourself. You don't get to pass the blame on for me. I don't want. If you're going to try that, then you're never allowed to make me choose from your choices again, because I feel like
I'm not.
I don't want it being thrown back in my face.
Sense of blame. I had a good time. No. I'm not throwing back anything in your face. I preferred it to Johnny English. I got a list of movies I probably preferred it to. So
really? That's very interesting.
No blame.
All right. Let's talk about it then. So
it's not good. It's not good.
What's your history? What's your history with the film?
No, none really. Just that classic. I had it. I think I recorded it from ITV one Sunday afternoon. I never had. I didn't have an official release. I didn't have it on DVD, video. I don't particularly remember watching it a lot. I literally only knew the basic beats. I knew he went to the jungle, found that he had a son. Brought the son back with him. Escapades in New York. That's I couldn't actually have told you any more than that in terms of what happened. And it wasn't even like, sometimes when we have that going in and then we watch a film and as it unfolds we're like, oh, I remember this, and this is coming up next, and this is coming up next. There was none of that. None of this film came flooding back to me. Maybe the fact that he had a spider.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I remember the spider, and I even remember the container for the spider, because I was like, if you were going to design a container for a creature that would terrify other people, you'd probably want something more secure. Even as a kid, I thought those two bowl system that he has for keeping that spider in, it was insufficient, which is fine, because obviously the premise of the movie, you want the spider out and about, right? You don't want to not have the spider running around. Otherwise, why write it into the movie? But I've just realised I've started the podcast and the fan is still on in this room. Sorry if everyone's here. Let me just turn that off. I didn't realise I'd done that.
Yeah, man. So do you have any similar situation to me? Like you watched the film, but no.
Yeah, something in that region. I think for me it was that this film was marketed quite aggressively across Disney's other video releases. My memory of this movie is more its trailer than the film. I remember basically half the big Disney releases I owned from this period, which is obviously, we're talking Disney's this is some of Disney's golden years, right? So this is like your Aladdins and your Hunchbacks and your Hercules and like a lot of those sort of movies. They all had the fucking trailer for Jungle to Jungle on it. All of them. Fucking all of them. Not exactly specifically those ones. I just mean like Disney movies from that era. I don't remember precisely which ones. So you always you always watched this trailer before the movie that you were actually watching. And I remember my cousin finally, was intrigued enough to ask his mum to buy it for him at some point. So he had it. I never owned this one, but he had it, and we would watch it round at my cousin's house occasionally. So I definitely saw this a few times as a kid. No specific memories of it, because I think the problem with this movie, and it's something we'll talk about when we get into our current review, but even as a kid, it just wasn't massively entertaining. Like, it's fine. Like, so much of this movie works, but so much of it is just flat and boring and uninteresting. And even as a kid, I think I understood that it wasn't entertaining me the way other movies were. So it was never one I was excited to put on. And I feel that has held true through the viewing now as an adult, where I was... where it's like there's a functional story here that totally works. Everything around it is horrible. Like, it's not funny. The situations aren't interesting. It's not exciting that the spider gets out. it's, you know what I mean? It's just, there's so many. There's a really dumb plot with Russian mobsters that is like of no interest to me whatsoever, except for that it gives us a finale, I suppose. Like I'll be honest. To jump straight into sort of overall thoughts, I think this is a pretty fucking bad movie. I think the only saving grace of this movie is that the actual plot structure, the character work, like this, the bones of the movie are really good, and you almost feel like you want to care about these two characters, and they do a really good job characterizing them. But its entertainment value is just basically it might as well be a negative number. It's a bit of a slog to watch. I didn't find it. I genuinely, Chris, and I've never said this on this podcast before, did not laugh once, not once, in this movie.
I think the saving grace of the movie is Martin Short.
I did write that. The closest literally, it's in my notes, the closest the movie comes to being funny is Martin Short's performance. But he's acting bad jokes out. Yeah. He's just giving them lots of gusto, and he's being Martin Short, and he's being excellent because Martin Short is fucking excellent. You know, and he is the best thing about the movie, without a question. We're definitely going to get to that. But if we're doing overall thoughts out of sort of history of the film, for me it was a bit of a slog to sit through because it was just not entertaining. So I won't be recommending this one to anyone. I know you're about to be a lot more enthusiastic, which is good because it'll create some balance. So please go nuts. Don't let my not enjoying of the movie dampen yours, Chris. But for me, it was not an entertaining watch at all. I struggled with it, and I wouldn't be recommending it. But that's just me. So I'm guessing
think this. I wouldn't recommend the. Oh, sorry. I think we talked over each other there.
Yeah. Go. You go.
Oh. Okay, sorry. There might have been a loud gap. I think we're trying a new audio setup. I don't know if we're out of sync, and that's part of it. But apologies if that's causing any difficulties. No, I wouldn't recommend the like. Do you know what I mean? If someone says I wanna watch a good movie. Recommend something. I'm not recommending this movie, and I don't think the problem is right. Here's what I'll say positively, but it's not the movie's merit. This movie represents a portion of nostalgia which is for those Sunday afternoon or Disney Channel, like Disney Channel or Disney Home Video, those movies that aren't considered the classics and have a lot of nostalgia for them, but were sort of, occasionally everyone's got one of those movies. So for example, stuff like Getting Even with Dad, Baby's Big Day Out. Do you know what I mean? Maybe big, but no. My main Baby's Big Day Out is what you're describing. Yeah, Rent a Kid was obviously another one. Which we've already reviewed on here. Baby's Big Day Out is my. That's the one where the baby's like crawling along the building site, isn't it?
Yes.
That's my Jungle to Jungle. I remember the trailer for that movie. I think that was Fox. I remember the trailer for that movie being...
Dunstan Checks In. That's another one. Sorry, I'm just thinking of more of them now.
Yeah. And because I think Baby's Big Day Out was Fox, and I say that because I think it was on the beginning of like the Power Rangers movie VHS.
Right, so you saw that trailer
like
a lot.
Some Simpsons releases. Yeah, Baby's Big Day Out was my equivalent of Jungle to Jungle. I never saw Baby's Big Day Out.
I think it's just called Baby's Day Out, and I have seen that. I had that one on VHS. It's kind of like it's sort of like Home Alone mixed with like I don't know, like it's because it's like the baby ends up thwarting criminals. I think like by accident. It's very strange.
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yeah, I do remember seeing Getting Even with That, and actually Stop or My Mum Will Shoot is an older movie, but I'd class it in this sort of camp too. And I think there's a certain nostalgia tickle to that. Like for me, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Actually, no, there's a lot of nostalgia for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I wouldn't include it in that category. I just happen to have recorded it from ITV. But yeah, judging the movie on its own merits, is it a particularly good movie? No, I enjoyed watching it. I did enjoy Martin Short. I thought he had some really funny, just throwaway shit where I wasn't even sure whether he was actually improvising to try and make it better. For me, the mad thing, like you say about the characters, is like, the arcs is how they've just gone for functional. Like, there's some much deeper stuff within it. Like, for example, should he be with that woman? Does he actually miss what he had with his first wife? To give mild spoilers, the woman that he's marrying, which is on paper fairly central to the plot, but actually so uncentral that we're just meant to assume what he's done about that. It could have gone so much deeper on a lot of these themes, and it's like they know. It's like someone was in the room going, don't worry about it. It's just going to be chucked on ITV on a Sunday afternoon. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that and a little bit of I don't think they actually knew how to do it. It's like, because the movie tries its hand a couple times at more complex character emotions and feelings other than the really basic ones, and every time it does it just feels muddled and confused. Like, so the movie doesn't understand its own choices, which is really, really strange. Just because I think when you write something, you kind of know your intention, and it just feels like, I don't know how many people wrote on this movie, but it feels like 20. Because, like, there's a scene early in the movie when he meets the new wife, right? And the kid has come with him. And he's like, look, it's 2 weeks of this kid interrupting our life, and then we can go back to being self-absorbed, basically. And I liked that idea that, like, him and his original wife, it hadn't worked out because he'd been in his own, he'd wanted his own things, she'd wanted a more attentive partner, and what he's found is someone who fits into whose lives they fit into each other better. His new partner, she's got her own stuff going on, he's got his own stuff going on, they get to be together occasionally, but then they can be apart, and that's fine, and there's no demand on his time from her, the same way that there's no demand for her on his from her time on him. But yet then the movie does this thing where she keeps going like, you don't have enough spending time, you're spending too much time with your son. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, movie. You were writing a whole movie about this other thing a minute ago where
Well, not only that, but there's parallels. His new wife then starts doing the same thing to him. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
And it's
that's what I'm saying.
Sorry. Yeah, as I started saying that, I was like, wait a sec, Dad's just made this point.
Yeah, because she's constantly going like, you're spending too much time with your son. I need some time alone with you. I need some time. But I'm like, but isn't the point of the movie so far been that the reason he likes this new relationship, for better or worse, is that it works because she's not demanding of his time and she's got her own stuff going on. And I'd be totally happy with the movie then having him grow and change and decide at the end of the movie he does want a more involved relationship, and then going back to, his previous partner. Like, he's grown up finally, and now he wants the same things as her. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that as a plot if he grows and changes and realizes that relationship no longer works for him. But to have
or realizes, which I think is where I was going when I interrupted, or realizes what it feels like. There's that scene. It just needs to be more explicit. There's that scene where, he's like, oh, can we do this day? And he's like, that doesn't work for me, and that just gets ignored. But her documentary maker is like, oh, it doesn't work for me, and they're trying to arrange it around him. And it's not like another man type situation. It's just representative of her work taking priority, and just have it more explicit that he's like, oh shit, this is what it feels like. I fucked up. I made a mistake.
But yeah, and even like regardless of the specific nitpicks that are related to this story beat we're discussing, I just sort of look at the way that is written and go like, it just feels like they not only did they go like, because this was me jumping off your point about how they felt like, it's a Sunday, it's going to be a Sunday, it's going on VHS, it's going to be kids will watch this, like it's not going to be like it's not put any work or effort into the character stuff. Even when they try, it doesn't seem to make sense or function, and that's actually like the bigger problem, is that like I don't mind a movie sort of going like, no, we're going to keep this quite simple and do it well. But then when they in the movie itself, whenever they attempt to do character work at all, like beyond the very, very basic stuff, which they took from another movie, it's worth noting, this is a remake of a French film. To everyone's surprise, it's not that I certainly didn't anticipate discovering that in my research, and thankfully I watched the film.
That comes up That does surprise me, yeah, because it comes up on the credits, doesn't it? But, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it, but I watched the film not knowing that it was an adaptation of a French film, and
okay.
I either didn't,
Oh, yeah, no,
I
it's
didn't
all
take it,
based
I
on-
didn't take in that credit or whatever. I found out later when I was going through the triv. But like, it sort of makes sense that as well, because like I reckon I keep saying, oh, the bones of this movie are pretty good. Like the actual story with Tim Allen's character growth is actually really well done. It's embedded throughout the movie, and it's reasonably consistent when it comes to him and his son, not his relationship with the women in his life, because as we talked about, that's a bit muddled. But there's the moment when they go dancing, and that's quite sweet. And there's like the comment when he's like, you know what, I never stop and look at the Statue of Liberty anymore. I live here. And it's like he starts to understand his son, while he's defending the son to other people who don't understand him. Like he started to figure out his own son, and like there's just tons of that, and I think it is enough to justify an arc of this guy discovering he has a kid, becoming, a father to that kid in some way, shape, or form, in a way that works for them. And it's sweet, and it's reasonably well constructed. That's presumably all from the French film, because everything put on those bones is just absolute slop. And it's such a shame, because there's a good movie potentially in here, but also the movie utterly fails to do fish out of water storytelling and gags completely. It is the laziest stuff I've ever seen. Oh, he doesn't know how to eat cereal, so he's poured it on the table. His tribe has bowls. What are you talking about? He knows what a bowl is. So what you've done is you've made the character look like a fucking idiot. He's not that, like, you know what I mean? There's a difference between a cultural misunderstanding and then like this attempt at a joke that doesn't even function within the story.
I think I also gave it points and enjoyed it because I was relieved because just remembering that basic premise, and don't get me wrong, there is some offensive stuff.
Oh yeah. In my section of my notes that says, overall discussion points, one of them is it racist?
Yeah, but the fact that the note says, is it racist? ? And not, film's definitely racist, guys, is a win. Like, I was given when it was made, what it's about, I was honestly like, oh fuck, are we about to go into, like, are we gonna watch this and be like, and I'll be ashamed of even choosing it, even though I chose it on the caveat of this could be a minefield. I was actually pleased to see it wasn't as full of that kind of stuff, or it wasn't as heavy.
It's not Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, which at some point we'll cover, and that movie is bad for that. We'll come back to that. I think the way the movie gets away with it, and I'm not suggesting the movie isn't in some way offensive, and I think there's people from various tribes that will never see this movie that would find this movie's weird depiction of like this sort of like very loose, like very Western impression of a tribe, like it would find it in some way offensive because it is it's steeped in stereotypes. But the way they get away with it, I think, is it's a fictional tribe. They don't go too deep in what the tribe do and don't believe. They just have a few little traditions that they talk about, which are loose and thin and not steeped in too much stereotyping.
I suppose as well, he chooses to try, like, spoilers from here on out. Neither of us are particularly recommending the movie to kind of answer that and then move into spoiler territory. He also chooses the tribe at the end, and that life, and he brings his friends. Oh, that's a real stretch. The other Martin Short's family coming as well. It's like, okay, fine. But yeah, so I think maybe that helps as well. And also, I think what's nice is, like you said, and again, I think this is a reason why I didn't not enjoy watching it. The thing they attempt most to do, whether from the French film or not, is the father-son stuff. And that's, that comes above the tribe stuff, that comes above the fish out of water stuff. And I think they probably do enough. Like, maybe I'm forcing symbolism in where there isn't meant to be any, but the scene where the son falls asleep and he puts the rug over him, and then he accidentally shoots himself in the foot with the dart, and the son realizes this, wakes up, puts the rug on him, and sends him to, puts him to bed. Essentially, it's kind of like, oh, they need each other. They need each other as much as one needs the other one, and that's quite sweet. And I think the film, as you yourself said, I think the film does just enough with that stuff. Mm-hmm. To make that stuff passable.
Yeah, but it's
again, Martin Short.
But that's the issue. It's like one part of the movie, the father-son relationship, functions, but all of the entertainment elements of the film, the entertainment factor. Okay, there you've got me invested in this relationship, but now you need, jokes and like set pieces that are funny and other elements that work, and there's just nothing. There's nothing. It is especially the second act is just a series of that kid being dumber than he is for the sake of comedy, and other people being about it. Like, come on. Look, here's the thing. This kid has a concept of pets. He has a pet spider. So why is he trying to eat the neighbor's cat, or eat the cat, and also trying to eat and eats the fish? He understands what a pet is.
I was going to say, he doesn't try and eat the fish. He eats those fish.
Sure. But like all of that is just so we can make him look dumb and have the family be like, oh, he's so different. His cultural ways are different, and now we're angry at him. It's just nothing. It's nothing. I swear, if you shred all of that out of the script, it's like a short film. It's like 10 minutes long. So it's like impossible to defend, because like no matter how good that father-son stuff is, and even that at its best we're describing as functional, nothing else in this movie works. It's really bad.
It was a lot more about coffee beans and gangsters than I
and there's that as well. Now look, if we're going to sit here having criticised last year the Flintstones movie for having an embezzlement plot, I think we do need to sit here and take a second to criticise this movie for having a plot about two stock market traders who, and this is just for those of you who are listening to this without having seen the movie, or haven't seen it recently. Two stock market traders that trade in a bunch of coffee beans, the value of which is plummeting, and they're panicking, and they can't find a buyer to sell them off to, and they find a Russian mob guy who wants to buy them, mostly as an excuse to launder his money. When they realize this, they go back to take the money back. The Russian mobster guy's like, you guys are shrewd businessmen. I think you're screwing me. They're like, look, no, the value of the coffee is going down. You're getting your original investment back. This works out for everyone. We just want out. And he goes, okay. So he gives them their money back. And then, of course, the most predictable thing in the world happens. The value of the coffee shoots up, and the Russian mobster thinks that they've screwed him, so he goes after them. And it's a thinly veiled attempt to create stakes for a third act, where this ridiculous, awful sequence of events where they try to have the shittest, actually, and this, I cannot believe I'm saying it, the shittest equivalent I've ever seen at sort of a Home Alone house invasion in a kids movie where fun stuff then is supposed to happen I've ever seen. It is just everyone scuffling in the living room in pointless, deeply unfunny ways for like 10 minutes. It's fucking awful. It's unimaginative. It's literally not funny once, and it doesn't do anything other than say, here's our third act set piece, which is fucking dreadful. Then it ends with the guy just being scared of a spider and running off, which is not funny. Oh God, this movie. I think I'm angrier about this movie than I realized.
That's coming across. And it was really bad. It's like you're really angry for really valid reasons, and I have no defense, because my honest, true defense is, that stuff just didn't bother me that much.
Not being entertained didn't bother you that much? That's crazy to me.
No, I was there were moments that entertained me. I was just going to say, that's what I was just about to say. I laughed in the fight because I thought the crooked teeth bit. So that's, and again, it just, at first it felt like Martin Short improvising. So he does a big speech about how Michael doesn't know what it's like to be a father. He's like, you don't know what it's like to be scared of them, to be worried about them, to be concerned about their crooked teeth. And then he just goes, no offense, Andrew. And his son is just there, and his son's like, that's fine, don't worry about it. And then later on, when he's sending when they're all having the scuffle, he's like, "You bite him, Andrew. You use those crooked teeth." I can't. It made me laugh. Like I can't. It's just I found it funny.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I will not take that away from you at all. But I'll be honest. I was sat in utter just depressed silence as these scenes unfolded. Because also,
but I think this is similar.
Nothing imaginative about that sequence at all. They all just sort of scuffle a bit, don't they? Like there's not.
It's
horrendous.
Not.
And filmed.
Yeah, it's the laziest. It's the laziest version of like that idea, and just the notion of this big mobster guy is ultimately defeated because he's scared of spiders, and they even have some really forced dialogue where they try and justify it, where he's like, "I've had enemies before, but that spider," just a kind of, which is the script's way of saying he's got to leave him alone now because he really doesn't like that spider.
That spider, that by the way, is leaving the country in like a few days.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, the gangster doesn't know that, does he? But like, it's still, it's mad. A lot of it's lazy. I think this is
it's also shot very lazy.
Version.
It's worth adding as well. Like it's shot badly. It's a really generic. Like the movie is shot as unimaginatively as a movie can be shot. It's like literally just over the shoulder. It's just coverage strung together. So you know.
You know what it is? I think maybe because this is a much smaller version of it, and it's also a much in a way it's a much less interesting version of it because you chose this film and had loved it. But I think this is a similar situation to Last Action Hero, where the flaws of that film just had you you came onto that podcast apologizing for even recommending it, and I was like, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, but I had a lot of fun. Like I didn't have a lot of fun here, but I had some fun. And I think maybe for me, the thing that separates a scenario like this and Last Action Hero to say Johnny English is that at no point was I bored, and like
that was very different for me. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see the differences here. Like I genuinely was bored throughout huge portions of this film, so that's in.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Sorry, finish your point. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So. No, and I just think I maybe there's something in that, but again, this is a real, like Last Action Hero. It's a really difficult situation because I don't actually disagree with anything you're saying. It just none of it was as big a problem for me. Yeah,
the spider hisses like a snake for some reason. I don't know if I just don't know if the sound effect guy was just like. He went to his search engine of animal sounds and he put in S and snake came up first. And he went, yeah, close enough.
There's some really bad slapstick where Tim Allen and Martin Short, they run at a door.
Yeah, they do.
Jump against that door.
Yeah. What did you think of the love story? Mimi Suku and then that random girl. No, she's not random, but like the girl that's barely in the movie. How did you feel about it? You're my resident love story guy. Tell me that functioned at least. I didn't get anything out of it at all. I didn't believe it for a second, but did you?
I think they put way too much weight on it. We didn't need to go back to it at the end. Like him giving a big speech about what love. I really was worried that they were going to call back to. Michael's big speech about what love means, and he was going to go, I just look at her and I can't see anything else or whatever. And I was like, oh, don't do that, because me, a personal pet peeve is fucking when you have a film and they spend 24 hours together and then they're like, I love you. Like, just because I think it's so unnecessary. Like, it could literally just be, because I think they do it in, is it Speed? They've done it in a film we've reviewed for Rewind Reviews. And I was like, you just don't need it. You don't need it to be this big passionate love affair. You could just know that they meet up again. And like, I think it would have been much better if the dad had appeared at the end and maybe he had a letter from her. I don't think she needed to be on the island, and it was enough for me that the son got his dad there. I don't think he needed her there as well.
But they're visiting,
and
though,
yeah,
right?
it's just
They're not moving there. It's like they're on a holiday, right? Like it's a
No, but I just don't think I don't think it needs that because it makes it about
it makes it about the
it makes
love
it
story,
about that and
not the father-son relationship.
And I wouldn't have minded because obviously you also have Michael lift up the pot to his first wife and stuff, and that's quite a fun idea. But again, make it okay. Well, if you're going to end on 2 love stories, at least put time into one of them. Have him see the error of his ways or whatever.
I'm coming to the conclusion.
I don't think they spent enough time together.
With that, I'm coming to the conclusion Tim Allen's a really bad actor, by the way. And that pot moment you've just reminded me. That thing where he lifts up the pot and he puts it behind himself really overtly sheepishly, and then we freeze frame. Oh Christ, I hated that so much. But I hated his performance there. I didn't believe that for a second. It was like as I was watching him, I wasn't seeing man who sort of might potentially be realizing he still has feelings for his ex-wife. I was seeing man who's wondering what they're going to have at craft services for lunch, which is just terrible. Tim Allen's really bad at this movie.
I thought it had a lot of subtlety and nuance to it, that moment and that performance.
Did you really? Or were you just saying the opposite?
No, I did. I knew what they were going for.
I knew what they were going
subtle,
for.
No,
I knew what they were going. It's hard not to. It's as subtle as a punch in the face. But like, is it good? Did you believe it for a second?
No, but I don't know if I believed any part of this movie.
Right, that's fair.
apart from Martin Short entertaining me.
Yeah, look, and Martin Short's wonderful. And look, he is by far the best part of the movie. Like, and I just found the note. I actually wrote, this is the exact quote. I wrote this midway through the film. Martin Short is the closest thing this movie gets to being funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, we haven't talked...
Go on.
No, go on.
It's like here's a line, right? Here's a line where the line is horrendous, but Martin Short, for me, made it entertaining enough. I think it's something like when they have the money, and he's like, "Are we really going to launder their money?" And he's like, "Yeah, and we're lying it too." Like Martin Short, just for me, made that terrible dialogue vaguely entertaining, or maybe not vaguely entertaining. Maybe I enjoyed this movie in a Mystery Theatre 3000 way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. There's value in that
as well.
Yeah, there's value in that. And here's the thing, right? Here's the other thing as well, right? This movie is gentle. It's so gentle. It's so gentle it might blow away in a breeze. And I think there is merit to movies like that. Sometimes you just want to put something on that's real straightforward, very simple, light, maybe a little heartfelt, couple of jokes or a wild performance that feels fun, and that's enough. And you just go for an hour and 40 minutes. I'm entertained enough for my entry fee, so to speak. And I think I will never tell someone they're wrong for having enjoyed a film like this in any way, shape, or form. I for the purposes of a podcast where we're analysing it, I mean, because I watched it and I didn't even feel angry when I watched it. I just felt bored and was just like, it's not very good. Like, the movie fails to entertain me. That's a shame. And I thought we were going to come on here and have a really gentle conversation about, what happens when you get the good bones, but then the script around it doesn't deliver, And instead, I found myself way angrier than I realised I was at the movie. And I think that's because because I also had a version of what you had, which is while I was watching it, it was just sort of inoffensive and existed and was just there and fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, but as soon as I've been forced to intellectualize it, to think about it, I'm like, oh, this is fucking dreadful. Like, it's really bad. But, like, of course, most people aren't watching Jungle to then do an hour-long podcast or hour-and-a-half-long podcast on it. That's not what's happening. So, and trust me, this won't, I'm not even sure this podcast will break an hour because I'm already running out of things to say and the trivia is going to take about 30 seconds. Because it turns out, dear listeners, that, how Jurassic Park, they'd written books about it. It interviewed people forever about it. Same with like X-Men and all that stuff. It turns out no one has talked about this movie even once since it came out.
Which is what a testament to that sort of thing we're describing of this type of movie.
Yeah, right.
And two,
everyone knew
one of the reasons it was on the list. The reason, because obviously this was a season ago now for people, but the reason it was on the list was Dan might not have a laptop, so I'll pick a film that is probably not going to have a lot of truth.
Yeah, yeah, which is glorious, which was nice. Speaking of the movie being mildly, like, just like offensive, I'd forgotten a line I want to ask you about. Did you enjoy it, Chris, when they get in the taxi and Mimi Siku says it's like magic?
Oh, no.
And he replies, magic would have been if the guy understood English. Did you enjoy that? Was your favorite line of the movie?
Horrendous. And upsetting, because it's like, oh, fucking hell, is the offence also going to come from this? Do you know what I mean? Like,
you'd escaped the tribe.
I mean,
you'd escaped the tribe feeling like you were getting away with it.
It's no, not getting away with. There's some offensive stuff there, particularly towards one of the women in the tribe. Yeah. Like, there was, I skirted through the tribe stuff of me being like, that's not as bad as I was worried it would be. Yeah. And then that happens in the New York sequence, and you're like, oh, fucking hell. Like, I've still got to be on lookout for this shit. Yeah. But I guess the reality is we got to be on lookout for that shit from any movie from that time.
Yeah, for sure. Look, the worst stuff in the film is early on, for sure. In terms of like offensive stuff. There definitely are some unfortunate stereotypes about people of the tribes. There are some like jokes about people's appearance, which I didn't care for. They kept most of Tim Allen's... You know what I will say they did, which I thought was quite good? They did make that Tim Allen's the idiot. And I mean that in the best way, in that, like, in the tribe, when he doesn't understand something, it's not because they're strange and weird. It's that he's a fucking idiot and he's not being patient enough to learn. And I think actually that's maybe the difference between this movie and something like an Ace Ventura, where Ace is presented as like he's normal and they're all weirdos, when he's at the tribe. Their traditions are bizarre and strange, and he's just a great normal guy that's funny and interesting or whatever. Whereas here, it's like Michael, any shit he says or does relating to that tribe, the movie presents it as, because he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Like, because they have that great contrast, because obviously his ex-wife is there living amongst the tribe and she's being patient and understanding and helpful, so it's any weird or offensive things he says, you can sort of make it as like that's the character being an idiot, rather than what they're doing is strange and weird. Like when he makes fun of them for their tradition of using, like, handing pots as a sort of a mating ritual, the movie presents him as being wrong, in my opinion, and that actually saves them a lot of like the issues I think you might have otherwise gotten. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I could be talking absolutely out my arse.
No. I think that's why the like you say, the offensive stuff is like in the in the New York sequence, the offensive stuff is the taxi driver and the language thing, and some of the offensive stuff in the tribe stuff is the commentary on him making comments rather about a woman's appearance. Like like you say, it's not necessarily at the tribe's expense, which isn't defending the shoot. Like, it's still fucked up and wrong that it's at a woman's expense and then the taxi driver's expense. But like that's like you say, it's not. I don't think it's often aimed at the tribe because of what you're talking about it always being clear that the Michael character is the idiot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's wrong. Basically, the movie doesn't act like he's right. The movie presents it as he's wrong, and when he goes back, it's with a greater understanding, and he's more accepted. Like, and that's that's like sort of not his arc, but like his arc. He learns to understand some of the weird, what he perceives as weird cultural stuff, and accept it. And towards the end of the movie, he's defending Mimi Siku from other people's lack of understanding. So I guess you could argue it's sort of his arc, but like it's also just like so much of it is like it's just Tim Allen doesn't like being in the jungle because he's a businessman. Like, oh, he's put his hand in the water against the advice of the local because he's an idiot and there's fish now biting him. Like, he's pulling a face and flapping. Okay, all right. Tim Allen gets to mug to the camera for another minute. All right, cool. I guess I'll go for a piss now, shall I? Oh, wait, I'm reviewing it. I have to pause it and go for a piss. Got to sit through this shit no matter what. Pre or post piss. I'm still going to watch Tim Allen mug at the camera. I always remember, whenever I watch any Tim Allen movie, I'm always really struck by that Alan Rickman story from the set of Galaxy Quest. Have you ever heard that story about Tim Allen?
I think you might have told it even on the Santa Claus, but remind me again because I don't, you can't not now.
Yeah, so basically, there's a moment when he's doing a scene, and I think like someone, maybe he's even Rickman, coaches him into like tapping into his real emotions, like to do the scene, Tim Allen. And he does, and he gets very overwhelmed, and he has to take a minute away, and he goes to his room. And Alan Rickman apparently just wryly was like, I think Tim Allen just experienced acting. Which is like brutal.
That's phenomenal.
It's one of my favorite stories. Anyway,
Kevin Smith's been telling a story on the Dogma anniversary circuit of apparently during Dogma. Obviously, Kevin Smith's not going to give Alan Rickman notes, but he at one point in the movie he quotes the Karate Kid. But Alan Rickman clearly hadn't seen the Karate Kid, so he got the affliction wrong. He didn't sort of do the wax on, wax off properly. So Kevin Smith gave Alan Rickman a line read.
Oh, no.
And apparently Alan Rickman just went, classically trained, Kevin. Which is phenomenal. I think I'm probably misquoting.
No, that's great. I love Alan Rickman. But yeah, it's not a great movie. It's got occasional wanderings into being offensive. It has a reasonably straightforward premise, sort of ticking clock. He wants to get divorced, 30 days. He goes there. I thought that they were going to do the plot where like where his ex-wife is like, you've got to spend some time with the kid before I'll sign the divorce papers. I'm glad they didn't go down that route. That would have made her seem like a terrible human being. Mm. I liked the sort of misunderstood promise and the idea that like, yeah, when you're a man, him thinking that's in, 5-10 years or whatever, and it turning out to be much sooner. The Statue of Liberty stuff's fine. By the way,
I will say about the Statue of Liberty, what I liked about that plot was Michael's understanding of the tribe. When he says, yes. His son's upset because he didn't get fire from the Statue of Liberty, and Michael goes, well, the fire comes from within. The chief knows that. Like, you're not going to upset him. Don't worry.
I wrote that exact line down because I love that. That's one of my favorite lines as well. It's not, it's that thing we talked about earlier of like the father-son relationship is actually the best thing about this movie by quite some way. And he's like, yeah, even the chief knows that. Like the fire wasn't about physically returning with fire. It was, it was about what you'd learn on the journey, and like that's the chief, and the chief understood that, and therefore you haven't failed. And he's comforting his son, but he's also correct. Like that's exactly right. So yeah, it's a good scene. Although fake New Yorker, there's no way a real New Yorker gets on the Liberty Island ferry. Not in a million years. Every New Yorker knows you get on the Staten Island ferry. You spend 5 minutes at Staten Island, then you get the Staten Island ferry back, and it passes the statue both times. It's cheaper, it's usually quieter, and you see the same shit.
Well, there you go.
I refuse to believe an actual New Yorker.
In case people didn't pick it up there, Dan's been to New York.
I have, but that's a tourist trap. People know this is very common knowledge that the Liberty, unless you're going to Liberty Island to like stand at the foot of it, if you just want to see it, you definitely don't get on the ferry that goes there. It's crazy expensive. It's absolutely cramped. It's not. You don't get anything out of it. You're much better just getting a cheap ticket to Staten Island. Anyway. I liked the thing as well with the lighter. Nice. That's a nice little bit. The Statue of Liberty that's a lighter. That's cute. A cute little idea.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. I thought I don't want to repeat ourselves, but pretty much all of the father-son element I really enjoyed. Actually, you know what?
Yeah. No, they did. That's
I really enjoyed this. That made me laugh as well. That was another joke that made me laugh, where he's like, basically Martin Short is telling off Tim Allen. I can't remember any character name apart from Michael, but Martin Short is telling off Tim Allen's character about his son, and he goes, "Your son spent the night in a hammock with my daughter." And Tim Allen goes, "Did he have a pot with him?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "You got nothing to worry about." That made me laugh too.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I exhale at that point? I'm not sure. I didn't. Yeah. But I understand that's a functional joke. I do understand that's a functional joke. Yeah. Just from a visual perspective, they were doing a pretty good job initially when they were showing Mimi Siku climbing the Statue of Liberty. The first few shots of that are actually reasonably well done, considering the effect. Like, they clearly had a set and then used it and mixed it with, like, aerial footage of the statue, and it looked okay. And I was like, oh, they've done it. Considering that this movie probably had a really small budget, like, that looks all right. Yeah. Once he's on top and they composite him sat on a set into the live action shot that they shot from a helicopter, it looks fucking dreadful. It looks real bad. It's the lighting was not the same. And the kid looks like he's been cut out in MS Paint and slapped in. It's one of the worst visual effects. And look, the movie didn't have a big budget, but it was $32 million, which I don't know how much of that is Tim Allen's paycheck, but presumably a good chunk. But, like, they surely had enough money to do a better version of that effect. I'm sorry, there's really no excuse.
You'd have thought, wouldn't you? No, there is no excuse for that.
Just dreadful. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, it feels got some legitimate heart and some functional character arcs, but I didn't find it very funny or entertaining for most of its runtime, particularly that second act. So I didn't find it funny. I do think it can be occasionally racist, is the answer to the big question. And I don't think any of the set pieces work. Any of the fish out of the water stuff doesn't really work comedically. It just sort of undermines the character. And that stuff's hard to write, but the movie fails to do that too. So yeah, I think on the whole, I'm very firmly sticking with do not recommend. I don't know if we have anything. Do you have anything else you want to talk about from the film, Chris? I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover.
No, I think this is very much like when we started this podcast. I'm like, oh, fuck it, how are we stretching this out? because there isn't.
Let's just get into the trivia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Let's triv it up.
I'm gonna give you some trivia, and I'm putting emphasis on some because there is basically nothing. The trivia is real bad when you go on the IMDb page and there's a piece of trivia like, there's an actor in this movie that also then worked with Tom Hanks in a different movie. Tom Hanks worked with Tim Allen in Toy Story. And I was like, that's not trivia. That's just actors doing work and they happen to have crossed over in weird ways. Like, that's not even that weird.
Who else worked with Tom Hanks then, Dad? Is that a specific example?
I know it is a specific example. I didn't write it down because it was just like, it was some, I'll pull it up. I'll read it you as it was. And you can decide if you think that's of note. I didn't write that one down because it was like, jungle to.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be of note. Like, I'm just intrigued. Like, yeah, I don't need to hear it to determine whether it's of note or not.
Yeah, no, it was nonsense. I was just like, that's barely trivia. It's loading up. While it's loading up, should we do some? Oh no, here it is. It's come straight up. All right. For those wondering, from the end of our last series, when we talked about my laptop nearly being dead, we managed to revive it. It was simple hard drive failure, and everything of importance was backed up on Dropbox. So I managed to get the laptop up and running again with the simple purchase of a new hard drive. It's a Samsung Evo 990 Pro, if anyone's interested, that I've put in there. 1 terabyte. Nearly got 2, but it seemed expensive. The 1 terabyte was cheaper by quite a lot. It was on sale. Anyway, do you see how I filled time brilliantly there, Chris?
Hard drives exist. Hard drives exist.
Oh yeah, one of the trivias, Chris, is just Tim Allen and Martin Short would later star together in Santa Claus 3.
I mean, I thought about it whilst watching the movie, to be fair.
Let's do this.
Don't tell me you didn't.
No, I didn't, to be honest with you. Okay, Valerie Mahaffrey and Sam Huntington would go on to appear in Sully 2016 with Tom Hanks, who starred with Tim Allen in Toy Story, in the Toy Story film franchise.
There you go, good stuff.
Are we happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah.
So this is a remake of a French movie called Un Indien dans la ville, also known as Little Indian Big City. which is, can I say, actually, that is a fun title, if potentially offensive.
Yeah, Jungle to Jungle is a better title.
Yeah, the old concrete jungle. Yeah, I like it.
I was gonna say because they're both jungles, Dan. You get it.
I do get it. I get it.
I don't think it needs the two. That's just trying to be of the time. Like just put the word
also,
two.
Like what are we doing here? 90s movies. Like you got to be prepared for a franchise in case it's a big hit. You call this one Jungle 2 Jungle correctly, and that way you've got Jungle 2 Jungle with a 2 for your sequel. Leave that title open, I say.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a sequel there, like, which all of them dealing with the jungle. Like,
sure,
they set it up. They just don't set it up with the title.
Yeah, good point, Chris. So in the original one, that instead of relocating to New York, the character Mimi Siku goes to Paris instead, and climbs the Eiffel Tower instead of the Statue of Liberty. So it's pretty close, I'm guessing, in terms of the bigger beats. The father-son stuff seems pretty similar. They did age up Mimi Siku quite a bit for the American version because they felt American audiences would generally be a little more uncomfortable with a younger child in a love story. Teenagers feels more natural to Americans, and I guess the French didn't mind it being a younger romance. I have no horse in that race. It makes sense though. I acknowledge that it makes sense. I like that he's older, not for that reason, but just more for the father-son stuff. I think he's old enough that it's like, yeah, teenagers and their parents often have very fraught relationships, and it's sort of, you could sort of argue him being a teenager makes this about like his growth to becoming a man and in real terms in a better way, in a more tangible way that I like. I don't really have a horse in the how it affects the love story element of it, but I do really think it not improves, but I think it works better for the father-son story. That's just me.
Yeah, apparently in the original, Dan, it was the thing I've just seen a plot summary on Wikipedia. It was the thing you said you'd hate. So Patricia tells Steph she will not sign the divorce papers unless Steph takes Mimi Suku on a visit to Paris, which he agrees to.
Yeah. See, I smelled that in the air, and I wondered if, like, I did ponder the possibility that might have been in the French and they've rewritten it here, because it does feel like that's where it's going. Like, it does, the initial setup feels like that. I'm glad they changed it. 10 points to the American writers, because I think they made the right call.
There is the possibility... Oh, maybe not. I was going to say there's a possibility some of the other stuff comes from it, because one character is simply credited as Russian, and another is credited as the Snake Man. So, yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
What came and what didn't.
I'll never watch it, so I'll never know. They also adjusted Mimi Siku's skin tone. So in the original, because the boy had been brought up in the tribe, he obviously was a lot more tanned. He wasn't like the skin tone of the people from the tribe, obviously, because his parents were white, but he definitely had darker skin tones to sort of, indicate that he'd grown up in a very sunny place. And they changed that in the American one because even though it's probably realistic that Mimi Siku would have darker skin tones, they liked making the father and son match more for contrast. And I have no horse in that race either. Makes sense to me, but sure.
So I'm watching the trailer on mute. Mm-hmm. Eating dog food out of a bowl, killing the neighbour's bird. That stuff is in it.
Yep. Sure.
Wow.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. It's like when we did Meet the Parents, and it was like, yeah, a lot of these ideas came from this short. Oh no, it was a feature. This other movie that was made first. It's interesting that I probably will watch the trailer from the French one, to be honest with you, because that does sound. It will be interesting to see how it was shot, and I bet it was shot better. To be honest. An interesting one. An entire day's worth of filming from this film, the canisters, were left in a New York taxi cab and was never recovered. So the cab drivers got their revenge.
Nice.
So when Mimi Siku was running around the streets of New York, the actor wore rubber shoes that looked like his bare feet to protect his actual feet from the perils of the New York streets. Someone get that information to the people who produced the Flintstones.
I was going to say, how rare that a movie of this time did something to try and protect the physical well-being
Oh my
of
God.
the actor.
Actually, we need a bell to ding when this happens, or like a party poppers to pull.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Yeah, I didn't give that the delivery it deserved. That's a miracle.
Given the shit that we were discussing just last episode regarding the Addams Family, I think you need to change your whole view on this film, quite frankly, Dan.
Yeah, you know what? A movie from the 90s looked after its actors. Ding ding. Big win. Big win, everyone. They did it. Yeah. They did it. Health and safety mattered. I genuinely, for those of you who are long-time listeners of this podcast, you will know about our long history of like describing the hundreds and dozens of avoidable accidents. So of varying severities that have happened across all the movies we've done because they just didn't give a shit. You know, it felt like Hollywood was trying to murder people back in the day. So yeah, that is, you know what, fair play. Yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, after shooting Charlotte's cat with the dart, Michael exclaims, "Oh no," in the same sort of grunting manner as Tim Allen's character, Tim Taylor from Home Improvement. I clocked that one as I was watching it because it felt really out of place, and then I realised what it was. So, yeah, I don't know if that works, but sure, little reference to Home Improvement, why not?
I suspect it doesn't work. It's a weird thing to do.
Yeah. Gene Siskel picked this film as the worst movie of 1997 on his annual end-of-year list. I didn't need to include that one, but it was in the trivia, and I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I've just discovered the film this is available on Blu-ray. they pressed this film on Blu-ray. That seems mad to me.
Why? Look, I have always hated the who asked for this criticism, because the thing is, you don't know till you make it often, but who asked for that?
That is mad, isn't it?
That is quite mad. Would you like to hear about budgets and profits, Chris?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So the movie was made on a $32 million budget. Its domestic return was $59 million. So the usual rule of thumb, and this is not a hard and fast rule. I mean, we've learnt that this week, actually, because the new Superman movie's just come out, and they've revealed the marketing budget was only $100 million for it, which it feels like it's been everywhere. So they've done a lot with a little for that. Because the movie cost $225. So you'd expect 200 million-ish spent on marketing. They spent half on marketing than I was anticipating they would, which is obviously very good for the return on investment. With this movie, we don't know how much they spent on marketing, but let's just assume the usual rule applies, because it's surprising when a movie doesn't do this. It's about double the budget. So let's say they spent 60-ish, 64 million. They made 59 back in the American box office alone. There is no figures for international release whatsoever. So this movie definitely broke even / made some profit just in cinemas alone. And then, as I said, it was absolutely sold to children on VHS and definitely had a second life via that. So this movie definitely made the studio some money, for sure, without question. And the fact they've put it on Blu-ray since implies that, I think.
Yeah, so I can't go over that. That's mad. But yeah, I've just Google image searched and flicked through. It would appear there's no extras, as far as I can tell, from a sort of grainy photo of the back cover.
You know, you wouldn't have even need to have done that. I could have told you there's no extras, because that's also often how we get bits of trivia. Like when a movie has like a commentary track, that immediately creates tons of trivia for a trivia page, because basically the director will sit there and say, "Oh, when we shot this, it was raining, and then we had to wait for the clouds to part." And then there's some brilliant nerd who we adore, because without them we wouldn't be able to do the trivia anywhere near as easily as we do, writes that down and sticks it on like IMDb or Wikipedia or somewhere, and then I stumble across it and that's get included. The lack of information about this movie tells me there's never been a commentary track, there's never been interviews, there's never been anything written about this movie, no one has been asked about it since. It just disappeared. It's like it went into a vortex.
Well, let me give let me give a credit to one hero, right? Let me give a credit to Jay's, not G-A-Y, just J apostrophe S.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give a shout out and a credit to Jay's Blu-rays because, Dan,
Mm-hmm.
if you thought it was a surprise that it was on Blu-ray, the fact that a Blu-ray unboxing exists for this movie is even more surprising. So fair play to you for that.
Very good. So it's time for my favourite segment, Chris. Yeah. It's time for Cars Exist.
Meow.
Oh, good one. That was a good one this week, Chris. Well done. Michael, the lead character, Tim Allen, Allen, drives a 1995 Cadillac Eldorado ETC. Great, as you all, I'm sure, knew. The mobster, the Russian mobster, he drives a 1965 Imperial Crown 4-door hardtop AY1 M43. Of course he does. And laptops exist, Chris. Just doing some typing noises to try and... Have I lost... I might have lost
good.
Chris.
It's good. No. It's good. I enjoyed the typing music.
There you go. Sorry, are you just watching the unboxing video?
I did a little... No, not at all. No, I think it's just a sync thing. I did a little noise myself, but I just don't think you heard it.
I think for anyone listening, if there's been any weirdness on this podcast, I think basically I put the new hard drive in the laptop. I think the settings have gone weird, and it's cutting off sounds over a certain volume. So occasionally, it's just I'm not hearing Chris react. So if there's any moments when Chris said or reacted something and I just ignored it, I promise you it's because the sound didn't reach me. Because there are times when I've seen the bar moving but not heard a thing. So I know that I've missed some of the things Chris has said during this podcast. In fact, he just said something then and I didn't hear it at all.
That would show you just how good my laptop impression was then. That it was, at such a pitch that you couldn't recognise it.
Yeah, that my laptop drown it out thinking, well, we don't want laptop noises on the sound. Anyway, speaking of laptops exist, the laptop used in the movie Tim Allen uses to try and communicate with New York is a compact LTE Elite 475CX with Windows 95. Boom. We did it, everyone. We did it. We did it in record time. 1 hour, 4 minutes.
Isn't it mad, right? Because... Also on the list last week was The Terminal by Tom Hanks, because I talked about how consistently in obviously the 90s is prime rewind reviews, and consistently Tom Hanks is listed as the biggest star of the 90s, and we've only done Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 of his filmography. Isn't it mad that we've done 2 Tom Hanks movies and we've done 6 Tim Allen movies?
Have you just counted? Is that right?
I've just done some loose. I believe it's 6. Yeah, let's see if you could. Let's see.
Well, let's see. Okay, so we
we
definitely could immediately do the 3 Santa Clauses in this. So that's 4 straight away. So and then the 2 Toy Stories. Yeah, you're right. That's 6. That's 6 before we've even looked.
I mean, it doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help that I don't think there's any others, but I might be wrong. We nearly did Galaxy Quest, but I mean, it doesn't help that obviously the two Tom Hanks movies were also Tim Allen movies. So obviously that is skews the figures. But apparently Tim Allen is the have we done more Tim Allen movies than anyone else? I'd have to look at the list, but maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we are officially rebranding as a Tim Allen podcast. It's called Totally Tim. Next week we'll be reviewing some of the slop he made.
But that does seriously we've not done that many Robin Williams. We've not. No. That might be right,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
And just look, we got a few Keanu Reeves in. We got the 3 Matrix and Speed.
Yep. Oh, wait till we get to Wild Hogs, guys. Seriously. Oof.
I remember enjoying Wild Hogs, probably for similar reasons to this one. Oh, there's Jack. That was another Robin Williams. So Robin Williams, we did Jack, Good Will Hunting, Hook.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not. This doesn't count Harry Potter because that would skew.
Yeah, because then because then Daniel Radcliffe is the winner with 11 films or whatever.
Oh, haven't we done both? Oh, wait. We've done both Bill and Ted's, haven't we? We haven't done the third one, but we've done both Bill and Ted's, haven't we?
So it's Keanu.
So Bill and Ted 1 and... Yeah, Bill and Ted 1 and 2, Speed, and then the 3 Mates. That's also 6.
Keanu versus Alan. Let's get them into an arena and have them fight. I know who wins, but I'm excited about it.
I'm just looking down the list now to see if I can find another Keanu film. Oh, obviously. Oh, wait. No, there is. Even taking out Harry Potter, I mean, it's very skewed because of a specific.
It's Johnny Depp.
There's 2 trilogies. No, what are the Johnny Depp movies? You think we've done 4? What are the Johnny Depps?
We did like 5 Pirates of the Caribbean films.
No, so yes, we did. But this person, I've got a 7er, Dan. I've got a 7er.
You got a 7er? Who's the 7er? Oh no, off the top of my head, no, I don't.
I think it's just 7, or is it more than 7?
Go on, who is it?
Because I feel like maybe we've reviewed.
Oh yeah, because did you account Aladdin when you did Robin Williams as well?
No, I didn't actually. So no, that's a good point.
Oh yeah, because Robin Williams, we also did Jumanji.
Oh wait, so hold on. Where are we for Robin then?
Oh my god, yeah, the Robin numbers are. You know what? I tell you what. Let's. I'm gonna go through on my sheet and fill out like the stars of each of these films.
Well, can I give you my?
Oh yeah, give me your one.
7?
Next week when we come back to review whatever, at the end we'll do a little bit where we talk about which actors we've covered the most.
So my 7 is Harrison Ford, because obviously he's got 3 Star Wars and 4 Indiana Jones.
Yep, 5. Didn't we do? We did 5 Indiana Jones.
Did we do all 5?
Yep. We went back.
No, the 5th one, didn't we?
In sequel season.
Did we do that on here, or did we do that for Nothing But Static?
Nope, we did it on here during sequel season.
Did we really?
Fuck
it hell. Okay, yeah. Well, in that case, I think it probably is going to be Harrison then. But run the numbers, because Robin Williams cropping up more than I remember.
Episode 94, Dial of Destiny.
We've actually also, because we've done both Dumb and Dumbers, there's a fair amount of Jim Carrey in there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I will take a look because we've done a couple of Die Hards too. So Bruce has got to be up here somewhere because we did Sixth Sense as well, didn't we? Back in the day?
And the Sixth Sense for Bruce as well.
Well, I tell you what, I'll do some investigating, and next week when we come back, we'll look at which actors have we covered the most. Or do I save that for when we hit 200? We do it properly. Nah, screw it. We'll do it next week. I'm curious.
We'll do a little. Make up for what are we at? Make up for an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But where are we going next, Dan?
Well, listeners who have been listening to the last couple will already know, but because I've been very clear what we're going to cover next. We are, of course, in anticipation for Wicked for Good. We're going to Oz, Chris. It is time to cover The Wizard of Oz, the original Julie Garland Wizard of Oz. I'm very excited about watching this. I've not seen it in a very long time. And I expect, from a film from 1939, I expect lots of trivia about people being very ill on set and treated badly on set. Tons of that. I'm pretty sure that the guy who played the Tin Man got very ill from the paint. So we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Like I'm laughing at it as an idea. I'm not laughing at him getting ill. That's obviously horrendous, and
But I'm anticipating some stories like that. So yeah, that's everything. Wow, wait, we did it. We're gonna go do Wizard of Oz next. And look, I'm super excited for Wicked for Good. I mean, from my perspective, it's not out for months, but for dear listeners, it's out in like a week or two. So, get pumped, man. I saw the trailer was on before something I saw this week. I don't think it was Superman. Maybe it was Superman as well. But I saw the trailer this week in front of something I saw. And, like, when they were singing For Good, like, momentarily, like, a little shiver down my arm. I was like, ooh. I'm excited about that movie. I think it's going to be good. Because I'm not a big fan of the second act of Wicked, the musical. But I feel like John M. Chu is, like, the guy. He's, like, the guy to make that work, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully it all comes together. Looks real good. So that's everything for this week. Yeah, do we have anything you want to cover, Chris?
No. I got an add-on to that, but you won't like it, which is maybe the second Wicked movie could be a little shorter. You know?
You thought the first one was too long? You thought it was too long?
A smidge too long, yeah.
The second act of the play is shorter.
Well, there you go. Here's hoping. But to be fair, I'm definitely in the minority there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that first movie so much. I was absolutely enamored of that film. I thought it was great. Super
I was
fun.
very sleepy. I was very sleepy when I watched it as well, so that wouldn't have helped.
Did Jess enjoy it? I assume you watched it with Jess.
Oh, she loved it. Yeah. We watched it. We watched it because she'd been wanting to watch it for ages, and it was her birthday. So I was like, "We'll watch Wicked. We'll absolutely watch Wicked." And yeah, she loved it. So that was all that mattered.
Yeah. Oh, great film. Great film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what they do with the sequel. Because, like I said, I'm convinced that they're going to do some fixing. In terms of the second act of the play. But anyway, thanks everyone for listening. You can get us in a few different places if you'd like to support what we do. Our Patreon is just, to use the word collapsed would be polite, I think. We are at about 25-30% of what we had 6 months ago. So if you do want to support what we do on the Patreon, we would appreciate it, because it turns out you were all there for Avatar, which is fair enough, and that's ended now for now. So it's patreon.com.
Yeah, no one's happier about there being more Steven Universe and Avatar than we are.
Yeah. Dear Lord. Yeah, we went from covering the bills to like, this is not covering anything. Which is, here's the thing. I'm super grateful for anyone who gives ever. And we've always said, if you can't give or don't want to give, you shouldn't. Absolutely, you shouldn't. But it has been slightly... I've had to... I'll just say the timing has been awkward for me personally for that to happen. So yeah, it's been a shame. But at the same time, like, I would never ever like try to leverage a personal situation for support on Patreon. If you like what we do and you would like to support us, you absolutely should consider doing it. If it is the sort of amount of money that you wouldn't notice if you dropped it down a drain, you absolutely should. If you don't fit into either of those two categories, then you shouldn't touch it, even with the barge pole. Just not anywhere near it. No, not at all. In this economy, come on. But if you would like to support what we do, yeah, it's patreon.com/nothingbutstatic. You can give as little as $1 a month or as much as you like, but for that you get access to episodes of this podcast a week before the normal release, and once we return to Avatar, that will be included as well. Same with Steven Universe when it comes back with Lars of the Stars. We're not sure exactly how that's all going to work yet. But it's going to depend on when they come out and release schedules and other stuff. If they're dumping 10 episodes at once, then it's going to be a weekly thing that we sort of do. Or if they're airing it weekly, then we'll have to reconsider. I don't know. We've not figured it out yet, but because we don't know, and it's miles away anyway, so we're not sure. But yeah, that's the reasons you can support us. Also, that gives you access to our Discord, where we have fun civil chats and all that jazz. Oh yeah, youtube.com/nothingbutstatic. You can support us there by simply subscribing or liking any of the videos that we have posted, or I say videos, the posts of these podcasts. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, if you've got thoughts, maybe you love Jungle the Jungle and were offended by my position on it. You write your essays and send them to mail@nothingbutstatic.co.uk. I look forward to reading them. I doubt I'll read them, but I doubt they'll be there. But any massive Jungle the Jungle defenders want to... Sorry, did you say something there, Chris? The thing cut you off again.
No, I was just laughing at that.
Oh, okay.
I was just laughing at that. Now I'm just checking to see whether, like, if we take another one like it, let's do Rent-A-Kid. Okay, Rewind Reviews Rent-A-Kid. Does that have any comments on YouTube?
Almost certainly not, right?
It has one comment, which says, first for you, like and comment.
Very good.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, well, look, you can do that too.
And,
yeah, lovely. We're up for that.
Rewind Reviews, stop. Or my mom will shoot.
Yeah, youtube.com/nothingbutstatic UK for access to that. And it's patreon.com/nothingbutstatic for the Patreon. Mail@nothingbutstatic.co.uk for emails. And otherwise, you can just like, subscribe, support, tell a friend, or just keep listening. That helps too. So that's everything from me. I'm going to hand over to Chris, who traditionally puts this particular podcast out of its misery. Chris.
Well, for those that are interested, I have looked. Stop on My Mum Will Shoot. No comments.
Yeah,
So,
not surprising. Not surprising. But you know, come back next week for a more culturally relevant movie.
Yeah. My name's Chris Billingham.
My name's Tantulan.
And this review has been rewound.